See, the pandemic is hitting black and brown communities hardest, which seems weird because the coronavirus itself can't be racist. Unless... An improvement, honestly. Anyway, research into the impact of COVID has shown that black communities die from the virus at 2 to 3 times the rate as one would expect based on their share of the population. Latinx communities also see a disproportionate number of COVID cases compared to their population, up to 4 times than they should experience. Native communities in the US, including in Alaska, are seeing COVID cases at 3.5 times that of non-Hispanic whites. White communities, meanwhile, see fewer deaths than one would expect given our share of the population. And I know this is getting some Nazis hard as a rock right now, reaching for their calipers to tweeze their dicks and claim that for some reason, coronavirus just happens to spare white people more because our buttholes are the perfect Aryan shape or whatever. But to actual scientists, this is a very wrong explanation. As epidemiologist and director of public policy at AmFAR, Greg Millett says, there's a structural issue that's taking place here. It's not a genetic issue for all non-white individuals in the US. So put away your butthole calipers, Nazis. The epidemiologist didn't say that last part. That was me, the butthole caliper thing, just to clarify. So, it's not a coincidence that the communities that have endured some of the most long-term oppression, genocide, and exploitation in the US are being hit hardest by the pandemic. Another person who knows stuff, Dr. Marcela Nunez-Smith, director of the Equity Research and Innovation Center at Yale School of Medicine, says, "We know that these racial ethnic disparities in COVID-19 are the result of pre-pandemic realities. It's a legacy of structural discrimination that has limited access to health and wealth for people of color. The structural lack of access to healthcare in black and brown communities means that people with preventable disease like diabetes, heart, and lung disease struggle to get treatment. And having these diseases makes COVID infections more dangerous and deadly. Also, people of color are more likely to have frontline and essential jobs. You know, the jobs we applaud and cheer for until it actually comes to raising their wages or improving their working conditions. This is something to consider when people talk about the impact of racism in this country. It's not just Confederate flag-waving weirdos or when PragerU defends slavery, although those things are both extremely bad. It's also found in the systemic structural inequalities in our institutions like healthcare, which has always existed, but is especially noticeable when a pandemic reveals horrifying statistics, like how black counties that make up 30% of the US population are the location of 56% of COVID deaths. It's interesting, too, and when I say interesting, you know I'm about to say something horrible, but it's interesting how getting the country back to work and businesses are suffering always seems to be framed as a middle America white dude issue. Anti-lockdown protests seem to draw in the white supremacist crowds who capitalize on the lockdowns as a way to say that white people are being oppressed by using fun slogans like Arbeit macht frei, JB, which is German for work sets you free. It's a slogan that was featured at the entrance of the Auschwitz Nazi death camp. JB refers to the Jewish governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. Now, I'm no branding expert, but I think rooting your anti-lockdown argument in the slogan of a literal death camp where people were worked to death and died of disease in large numbers is maybe a swing and a miss. But the big thinkers over at Proud Boy University may need to check their math, because according to data from this past December, the people most likely to lose their jobs due to the pandemic are women of color. That's not to say that there aren't many white people who have lost their jobs or are suffering economically due to the pandemic, but it does kind of poke a hole in the old white supremacist brown people they're taking our jobs and they're stealing our freedoms theory. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.